Hey everybody, welcome into another episode of Bad Corner Advice. Today, obviously we're going to talk about Ryan Garcia and the news that broke last night. I don't know if I'm buying it, to be honest. I know that I'm going to sound very conspiratorial conspiratorial? I'm not sure if that's a word, but if it is, I'm going to sound that way. I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist once we get into it, but I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. And we're also going to talk about Saul Canelo Alvarez. And we're going to talk about Jaime Munguia too. And I'll say it normal. I just wanted to say it that way. So y'all know that I speak Spanish. And I'm Mexican. So this fight, the Cinco de Mayo fight that Canelo usually does, I'm very, very excited for because it's Mexican versus Mexican. It's going to be Canelo versus Jaime Munguia, like I said. And this is going to answer a lot of questions in terms of Canelo ducking David Benavidez, who I've met. I actually met him when he was fighting Caleb Plant last year in March. It was at the MGM Grand, and I was in Vegas because I was going to go see Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. I know. It's going to sound crazy that, I was there for Taylor Swift while there was a boxing match going on, but my aunt took me in. We're both Swifties, so we went to go see her in Vegas. And like I said, Caleb Plant and David Benavidez were facing each other that day, or that same time that I was there. We were staying at the MGM, and the fight was at the MGM. So we got to see all the cool vibes and be around the vibe of a boxing match, which I really enjoyed as a boxing fan and as someone who's never been in that environment. I've unfortunately never been to a boxing match before. I would really love to, or a UFC fight. Oh man, I would die to be at one ringside. Actually, I hear that cage side and ringside, and this kind of makes sense because back to Taylor Swift, we had floor seats to that and the view kind of sucked. So they say that ringside and floor side, or ringside and cage side, aren't the best seats. So I don't actually know if I'd like to be ring or cage side, but I would love to go to a fight, which brings me to, there's so much to talk about, but it also brings me to Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. That is now a sanctioned fight, and it's in Arlington, Texas. If you don't know, I'm from Texas, so I would love to try to somehow get my hands on that fight there. So let's start with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia tested positive for a banned substance, which is Ostarine. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, please bear with me. But yes, he tested positive for that. It can be found in supplements and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, it is a banned substance. And apparently only small amounts were found, but still, it's a banned substance and that's not allowed, obviously. So, but to me, a lot of this is very fishy. Ryan Garcia bet on himself and won $12 million, and that's going to upset some people. The odd makers are probably pissed, and nobody wanted Ryan Garcia to win that fight just because of the way that he was acting during promos and stuff like that. And it's understandable, but it's just very fishy to me. And I'm probably going to sound very, very crazy, but so go back to when Regis and Haney fought. Regis was saying that people were telling him, and again, this is all just he said, she said, rumors flying, and I'm here to talk about them. But Regis said that Bill Haney, who is Devin's father and trainer, when Devin used to fight in Mexico, paid to get an L off of Haney's record. I can believe that because they are both, to be honest, very insufferable. I find Devin and Bill Haney very, very annoying, especially Bill Haney, because I just can't deal with, and I guess Ryan Garcia's dad kind of does it too, but he's not as bad as Bill Haney. Oh my gosh, he just runs his mouth too damn much, and so it makes him very unlikable. So maybe this is a bit of bias, but I can believe it. And The referee, I talked about it a little bit in the last episode of Bad Corner Advice, but the referee just was not Harvey Dock. He was not it. Like, he was very, very clearly letting Haney clinch for too long. He was giving him so much time to get up. He did not want Ryan Garcia to win that fight. And I hate to say that stuff is fixed because I don't like to believe that it is, but that ref just was terrible. So whatever, allegedly Bill Haney paid for a loss to get off of Devin's record in Mexico, and now you've got this ref that was not refereeing that fight fairly, and a lot of people can agree on that. Even people in the boxing world can agree with that. And then you got Victor Conte, who is like the CEO or the owner or something for VADA, the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. And he was also the founder of Balco, who was the company that was providing people like Barry Bonds with steroids. And now this guy is the head of the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. So you tell me where that makes sense. The IRS agent that investigated Victor Conte at the time that like the whole the Balco thing was happening was like, this guy will do, you can't believe a word this guy says. I personally wouldn't believe a man who went from doping athletes to making sure they don't dope. I just personally wouldn't believe this man, to be honest. And if they want a rematch, I honestly, they probably are going to change it to no contest, which doesn't make sense to me because he was already, like, Ryan Garcia was already overweight, right? He came in at 143 instead of 140, and they agreed to the fight, right? They agreed to the fight, wasn't going to be for the title. If Devin Haney didn't want to fight at an unfair advantage, he should have said no. Should have said no to the fight. And if Bill Haney is so worried about his son getting hurt, he should have stopped the fight. The ref should have stopped the fight on April 20th, that Saturday night that it happened, because Devin Haney, again, was getting his ass whooped and took a lot of really rough hits. And you can see, and I mentioned this in the last episode too, you can see Ryan Garcia telling Bill Haney to stop, asking Bill Haney to stop the fight, and he refused. So if that's such a worry for you, you should have stopped the fight, or you should have said no when he came in overweight. The odd makers are pissed because Ryan Garcia bet on himself and won $12 million. That's what I can come up with. But everybody's trying to take this win away from Ryan Garcia when he shouldn't. They shouldn't take that win away. But they are probably going to change it to a no contest, which makes no sense to me because they probably should have just either A, not done the fight when he was overweight, and why would you change it to a no contest if it wasn't for the title? Like, just leave it as is. If you want to change, like, I'm just not buying any of this, and it's not making sense to me. Now, if it comes out that Ryan Garcia really did, and Ryan Garcia is gonna say all kinds of stuff, and if it comes out that Ryan Garcia really did have these banned substances and he was doing steroids, then I'll take it all back and I'll eat crow. That's fine. But as of now, I'm not believing it. And I'll wrap up this Ryan Garcia thing with what my colleague Jacob Hester said last night. They can't come take that money that I won off that fight from me. So I was still right. I still won money, and that's fine. They can't take that away from me. Maybe they could take away Ryan's win, but they can't take my money from me, and that's that. Now, I do want to touch on this Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight real quick. It's coming up June 20th, and it is going to be a sanctioned professional fight. So this will go on their records. Knockouts are allowed. 8 2-minute rounds. 14-ounce gloves, no headgear. So like a full-on fight. I have a lot of thoughts on this. I feel like I may be in the minority. Well, actually, I'm not. Jake Paul is actually the favorite in this fight. And I understand that Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, but at the same time, he's 60 years old. The man is 60 years old. And, we can make fun of Jake Paul all we want. I'm not a fan of Jake Paul, and I think that he needs to, like, go away. He needs to shut up and go away, and leave combat sports alone, because I cannot. It's stupid on so many levels. But he can kind of fight a little bit. He's not great, but I mean, I'm not going to completely say that he's a shitty fighter. Mike Tyson is 60. I think he's going to be 58 at the time of the fight, but still, we're rounding up to 60. He's 60 years old. Yes, he's Mike Tyson, but is he Mike Tyson? He's older. He's a lot more calm than he used to be. Maybe he can turn it on, but like he's not the same. I'm going to get attacked for this. He's just not the same Mike Tyson, and that's fine. He's older. He's 60 years old. And if knockouts are allowed, you get one good hit on Mike Tyson, you can knock him out. He's 60 years old. And my concern is, can a 60-year-old man recover from a knockout? That's like, I'm worried for Mike Tyson, in all honesty. This is so stupid to me. It's kind of like Mike Tyson let peer pressure get to him, because everybody was like, oh, Jake Paul will fight Mike Tyson. I want Mike Tyson to knock Jake Paul out so he'll shut up. Yeah, we all want that to happen. But for it to actually happen, like, I don't know. This is just so stupid to me. And whatever. Like, y'all are gonna make y'all's money. Like, yeah, people are gonna be happy if Mike Tyson knocks out Jake Paul, beats him. But, like, okay, you're Mike Tyson. You beat Jake Paul, a freaking loser. And then if you lose, you lost to Jake Paul. I just don't like any of it. I would be totally fine if this fight never happened, and I would also be totally fine if Jake Paul just left combat sports alone. Like, if he just, like, stopped doing what he was doing, I would love that. Because even if Mike Tyson does beat him, I think Jake Paul will keep doing it. So, whatever. It's stupid. Let's move on to this weekend. 5 de Mayo, que viva Mexico, cabrones. Canelo is gonna fight Jaime Munguia, Mexican versus Mexican. Jaime Munguia is very young, 27 years old. Canelo is 33. Canelo is 60-2. Jaime Munguia is 43-0, so he's undefeated right now. Last fight was against John Ryder, and Canelo fought John Ryder last 5 de Mayo. And I remember, like, that fight made me a fan of John Ryder, because his whole face was bleeding and he was messed up early, and they took that fight to a decision. Canelo won by unanimous decision, but still, I was very, very impressed by John Ryder. Canelo's last fight was against Charlo, and he won that fight. So this is what I think. I think that, yes, Canelo is past his prime. No, he's not going to lose to Jaime Munguia. And this is why. Jaime Munguia he's 43-0, but he still doesn't have the experience and the technical skills that Canelo has. Canelo's a really, really good counterpuncher. Jaime Munguia is going to meet him at the center of the ring and throw a bunch of punches, and he has a really good jab. So if he hits Canelo with that jab and then throws some combos, Canelo's going to counter those. He's going to wear Jaime Munguia down, and I do think it goes to a decision, or it could be like a late technical knockout, like a 10th round technical knockout, or it'll go to decision. I honestly think it'll be split, and he might win by majority decision. But let's look at the lines. I believe Canelo is the favorite. He's minus 525. Jaime Munguia is plus 380. So if you want to make it interesting, you can do Canelo by KO plus 165. By decisions minus 105. So you got to put like a good amount of money on there to make anything back. Make it interesting and throw like $5 on the KO line. I'll probably do that too. I'll probably do the money line and KO. Because, like I said, I could see it going late to like a 10th round technical knockout, or, again, majority decision to Canelo, giving Jaime Munguia his first L on his record. And either way, this is great for the sport of boxing, especially Mexican boxing fans. What I was going to say about Canelo and David Benavidez, though, is that if Canelo loses his fight to Jaime Munguia, it'll answer everybody's question as to why he's ducking David Benavidez, because David Benavidez is on his way up. And he did win that fight against Caleb Plant that I was pseudo at, but I did tell, when I met him, I told him mucha suerte, and I think that's why he won, because I told him good luck. So, I don't know. Again, if Canelo loses to Jaime Munguia, which he won't, that'll answer everybody's question as to why he's ducking David Benavidez. But if he wins this, I do still want to see him fight Benavidez. I really do. So hopefully we do see Canelo Benavidez in our future. But for now, like I said, let me wrap up bad corner advice real quick. People are out to get Ryan Garcia. The Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight is stupid, and Canelo by a late technical knockout or by majority decision versus Jaime Munguia this weekend. Cinco de Mayo, que viva Mexico, go Canelo. I'll see you next time for another episode of Bad Corner Advice.